really sure why the car struggles so much on cold start. If it doesn't start on that first turnover, it takes a little while. Kind of weird. I don't really know. It's more of a Bader question. I talked to him about it. I'm sure we'll figure it out once we get on the dyno. No big deal. What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today is hopefully the last day we have to use this shop. We don't even really have to use it, but it's an ideal environment. As you guys know, this isn't my shop, this is Chandler's shop. He's been so awesome to allow us to use this for this long. It was supposed to just be to wrap the car, but anytime I've ever needed more space, he's welcomed us with open arms. So huge shout out to Chandler. Really appreciate you, brother. This was a huge help, and yeah, really helped out with the build. So today's video is going to be a little bit different tempo than normal. One of the most common questions I get on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, you name it, is how much does it cost to build this car? Everyone wants to see a price breakdown, and you know, I've been really scared to tally up the numbers, but last night I got an entire spreadsheet listing pretty much every part on this car that I've put on, and I got some numbers for you guys. I know a lot of my friends have done videos like these. I know Remy just did one on his car. Devin has a few for his cars. But you know, every build's different. And if you want to know how much I've spent to build this car, well, here you go. So let's grab a chair and we'll run some numbers. All right. So before I even start this video, I just want to put this out there. I'm in no way trying to brag about anything I've put into this car. This was an extremely long process that I've put all my savings into. Anything I've made has over 60% gone into this car. So it's what I'm very passionate about. I wanted to do this build for a long time. I put it out there for anyone. If you wanted to do this, you work hard, you can build something just like it yourself. So if anyone ever needs anything for their build, if they have any questions, I'm always here. You can always ask me. I'll always help you. And yeah, that's just that. But I just want to put that out there. This build is not cheap. No Subaru high horsepower build is cheap. This is just a question I get a lot, and it's a question that I wanted to know the answer to when I started the build. So I understand where people are coming from. So without further ado, let's get into this price breakdown and talk about this car. So I have a list here of pretty much everything I've put into this car from the outside in. And you know, that should answer most questions that people have. Of, you know, where did I get the carbon brake ducts? Where did I get the titanium? What color is the wrap? What size are the wheels? All common questions. So all the prices I've put on this list are all full retail prices. Obviously, I've gotten a few discounts on certain parts, whether they're on sale or, you know, help from sponsors. But to keep it all even, I put everything as full retail. That way, you know, if you're going to make a list on what you have to spend, you can, I'd rather you guys be over what you're supposed to spend than under. So for the car alone, bare bones, it was silver, had really nothing on it. It had an NVIDIA N1 exhaust, these carbon side vents, and it had a Cobb SF intake. That was it. I spent $14,000. It had a rebuilt title. It was totaled, but whoever had it before me pretty much got everything back looking normal, stock. It was already kind of rebuilt, which is a little sus. I mean, I found some iffy paint jobs, but for the most part, they did a pretty good job. Moving on to what I've put into the exterior. The wing on the back, I get a lot of questions. I bought that locally here. I think I went out to like Wenatchee or something and grabbed that. I bought that, the flares, and the carbon mirrors all at the same time. So the wing, I think, BTA wings, which I believe is what that is, they go for around $800. The flares go for around $475, and the carbon mirrors go for around $405. The APR carbon brake ducts, these guys here, those go for $421. And the carbon radiator shroud, which sits just under the hood, that goes for $200. The carbon grill, which is made by Cybon, that goes for $440. The vinyl wrap, I get a lot of questions on that. That is a KPMF gloss red black iridescent wrap. I had a full 75-foot roll. Those go for $675. I also had about 8 feet of 3M gloss black wrap. That goes for around $105. You can get 8 feet of gloss black. And it sounds like Jock Bader has made his way into the building. Moving on to the rear adjustable lower control arms. I have the PBMs, which makes the car sit a lot lower than, you know, it would stock. I was gonna go Cusco's, but guy locally had these PBMs. They were pretty cheap and they work out pretty good. So those go for $360. Let's see what else. The wheels. My wheels are raised Graham Lights 57 Extremes, obviously in the color bronze, and they're 18 by 9.5 plus 22. So a little bit more of an offset, and I also run 1-inch spacers behind them to get that fitment with the flares. So the wheels go for right around $1,900, and the spacers are right around $270. My front lip that sits under the bumper, I bought that here locally as well. It's just a cheap plastic lip. I put 50 bucks. It's not carbon, it's nothing fancy. So extra badges, so like the STI badges, the one on the hatch, just, you know, around 100 bucks on extra badges after we wrapped the car and had to rebadge it. My tires are Otsu FP 8000s. So with those and the TPMS sensors, it was right around $650. They are just cheap eBay tires. I'm gonna put some R888s on here eventually, but that's what we had in stock. I get a lot of questions on the little license plate delete. I run a Night Runner tilt bracket on there. Those are right around $40. And then the STI Euro plate thing in there, that's right around $33. You can find them on Amazon or anywhere on that. Just look up STI plate delete. I believe that's pretty much everything on the outside of the car, and the total for all exterior pieces that I've just listed is right around $6,924 for the exterior of this car to look like that. And that's not including labor or anything like that, since I've done all the work myself. I also put the black housings in the headlight to make it look a little bit better. The chromes just didn't go with anything on the front of the car. Chandler was a huge help when it came to wrapping this car. If you guys are wrapping it yourself, obviously, you know, no labor charges, but people charge anywhere probably from like $3 to $5 grand to wrap a car like this, maybe more. So, and then it's also ceramic coated with Avalon King, which is, I don't know, somewhere around like 60 bucks for a bottle. So now moving on to the interior. I didn't really do a lot with the interior, so nothing too crazy. I have an iDoing head unit, which goes for right around $440. The carbon HVAC trim and the little shifter cover, that's for my buddy Carbon Mike. Those go for right around $500 if you were going to buy them straight from him. If you're going to buy carbon pieces for the interior of these cars, he's phenomenal. He does awesome work. So yeah, hit up my boy Carbon Mike if you want some interior pieces. The AEM gauges, so I run an oil pressure gauge and an AFR gauge. It's right around 400 bucks for the two gauges. And then the SMY gauge pod, which is the gauge pod I have behind the steering wheel, that's right around $130. So interior total is right around 1,470 bucks. Now, moving on to probably the part that you all want to know, and we might as well pop the hood for this one. Obviously, this engine bay is something I'm very proud of. I didn't mean to build it like a show car. I tell that to everyone. It just kind of turned out like one, I guess. But I still plan to drive the car quite a bit. I've been driving it through the snow. I've been driving it on the wet roads, which is a little bit sus because I have cut inner fenders and water is just going to my air filter. Not ideal. But I do love to drive this car. And like I said, yeah, didn't plan to build it like a show car. It's not going to stop me from driving it. I guess we should probably just start at the heart of this whole thing. So the short block, I found a bare short block on Facebook Marketplace. I paid, I think, $100 for it. I drove out to Seattle and picked it up. This was pretty much the start of the whole build. I bought the short block quite a while ago and had it maybe a month or so. Sent it out to Outfront to do the V3 closed deck servicing. We got it milled out to 1/2-inch head studs. We got the 1/2-inch head studs themselves. We got it bore honed. The whole block came back looking brand new, closed deck. I mean, it looked like a brand new closed deck block. So Outfront does a really good job. If you're looking to do a closed deck block or build your own block, Yeah, I'd highly recommend sending out to Outfront. They do some quality work over there. I paid Outfront, I think like 2,000, maybe 2,100 bucks for all that work to be done. And yeah, it came back brand new looking closed deck short block. Now, this was the first short block I've ever built myself completely. Something I'm very proud of. Within the block, I run just a Subaru OEM nitrated crankshaft. That's right around 350 bucks. I run Manly Turbo Tough pistons, right around $715. They are 99.75 with the upgraded wrist pins. A little bit stronger, thicker wrist pins, which comes in handy when you're running pump gas because it's very hard on the motor. I run Manly H-Tough rods, which are a little bit lighter, but still a very, very strong rod compared to the I-beam. The I-beam is obviously, you know, when you're running huge power, you're going to run I-beams. But because I plan to drive this car a lot, I wanted something a little bit lighter. And yeah, so I went H-Tough, which is a little bit thicker, a little bit stronger than the H-beam itself. Rod and main bearings, I spent $135 approximately for ACL race bearings. The rod bearings, we mix and matched a few, and then the main bearings, just number 5 thrust, and yeah, you should be good with those. Obviously, check your clearances, but yeah, I was good with just some number 5 thrust bearings. Front and rear main seal, right around 20 bucks. Obviously, front main seal goes into the oil pump. We'll get to that later, but rear main seal, 20 bucks. And that pretty much completes the short block, minus some O-rings and stuff that go in there, I think. I don't think I'm missing anything. Now, moving on to the heads. So I was going to do all the head work myself, but it's really just not worth it. I'd rather take it to a machine shop. They do it every day. They're professional. And I wanted it done right. It's really easy to mess them up. And it also takes a long time. And if you don't know what you're doing, like I do, yeah, I could definitely screw it up and kill this whole thing quicker than quick. So, my heads, I took my stock heads, got them decked, port and polished, milled out to 1/2-inch head studs, cam clearance because I run 280 cams and they are some big old boys. Sometimes you do have to take a little bit of material off the heads themselves to run bigger cams. Valve job and full assembly. They did obviously the full assembly and probably pressure checked everything, made sure got no leaks. I spent $1,500 for the heads to be completely gone through, assembled, everything that happened at the machine shop, 1,500 bucks. Thought that was a pretty good deal. Like I said, if I did it myself, good chance I would have screwed something up. And it'd be detrimental to the entire engine. So within the heads, like I said, I run BC 280 cams. Those are right around 940 bucks. BC billet valve keepers, right around $105. The entire valve train is pretty much GSC. So I run GSC intake and exhaust valves. For all the valves, $241. For the valve guides, right around $83. Titanium springs and retainers were right around $490. And then for the valve seals, 13 bucks. So total amount I spent on the heads is right around $3,372. All right, now get to the expensive part. Before we start talking about turbo kit, let's talk a little bit about Boosted Coffee. If you're in Spokane, haven't been there yet, go support Bobby and her new coffee stand. Super friendly people, and they make some damn good shit, so go check them out. When I started looking at turbo kits, there's a few different ways you can go. You can go stock location, you can go rotated like I have, or you can do just a complete custom fab work, which is what a lot of the high horsepower builds have. Remy has a sick custom fab turbo kit. I see a lot of headlight kits. I know Bader on Hyperblue's got like a big 7685, kind of in the same location as the rotated kit, but a little bit higher, I believe. Maybe it's just that big of a turbo. I'm pretty sure that's what it is a 7685 next gen. Obviously, I went with a full ETS rotated kit. I'm running a 6466 setup. I have the full V-band kit with the max flow headers. Total for this ETS rotated kit is $6,845. The turbo kits are not cheap, but I highly recommend ETS. They are phenomenal. Obviously, there's a lot of testing with their products, and yeah, they very good quality. You can push a lot of good power with their kit. So going along with the turbo kit itself, I run a 4-inch ETS intercooler, and then all the ETS piping. So all this titanium piping is all ETS, and that goes for right around $1,575 for the titanium piping kit. The 4-inch intercooler goes for $959. The titanium intake pipe, ETS doesn't have on their site, but if you reach out to them, they're more than happy to make you one. That goes for $345. And then the teal blow-off valve, I kind of threw that in this category. That goes for $261. Now, for the turbo, Josh Bader's obviously done a lot of testing with everything. He recommended a 105 housing, so I finally found one. Took a while, but shout out to Real Street. They had one in stock. $467 for the 105 exhaust housing on the turbo. That pretty much wraps up every part of the turbo kit. So total for that is a whopping $10,452 for the turbo kit alone. So obviously that's the most expensive part of the car. Hopefully when we blow this thing up, doesn't take out the turbo, because obviously, yeah, it gets expensive. Moving on to a fuel system. I got a really good deal from my buddy Damien. He hooked me up with his entire fuel system that he took off his car. But like I said, full retail prices. Let's go over this whole thing. So from the back, moving forward, we're going to start with, I have a radium double pumper hanger. So that goes for right around $520. I run two Walbro 450s. That's right around $220. Now there's a few ways you can wire your fuel pumps. I went with the iWire Radium hardwire kit. That's right around $485. There are cheaper ways you can do it, but that's just what I went with. I run -8 feed, -6 return for the full fuel system. So with that and the fuel filter, I kind of put it right around $500 for all the plumbing. Fuel rails, I run Radium fuel rails. They're retailed right around $210. I run FIC 2150cc injectors. They're retailed right around $840. So my flex fuel sensor, before all this green speed stuff happened, they were right around $650. Fuel pressure sensors right around $250. And then I run an Aeromotive, I believe that's an A1000, I think. They're right around $268. And then I run an IAG fuel pressure regulator mount, which mounts the regulator kind of sideways on the strut tower. That is $23 off IAG's site. So I think that pretty much wraps up the whole fuel system. So we're looking at $3,966 for, yeah, the full fuel system. Moving into the extras category. This is a pretty big category of just stuff that doesn't really fit in anywhere else. So starting, we run a Killer Bee oil pan, pickup, and baffle. So for that combo, it's $619. IAG Stage 1 oil pump. So yeah, their blueprinted oil pump. Comes pretty much ready to go. We just primed it, slapped her on. $350 for that guy. I run just an OEM Subaru oil cooler, $229. Our clutch, I get a lot of questions on the clutch. Why didn't I go triple disc? Why did I run an ACT twin? Well, these ACT twins are rated for, I think, like 800 wheel torque, which is actually really, really good. I think that is pretty close to what the Exetti triple is. And these things feel like a stock clutch. Like, they're pretty insane. Feel pretty much like the Exetti. So it's about half the price. I figured we'll send it. If we burn through it, we'll put a triple disc on it. But I wanted to give it a shot. I've heard really good things about them. So yeah, ACT Mod Twin clutch. Right around $1,649. I run Athena Cooper Ring head gaskets. So those are $240 for the two of them. I put on here a full gasket kit. I went through the hassle of just buying each O-ring individually for the entire block. If you've never built a Subaru engine like I haven't, I don't recommend it. I'd recommend just buying the kit, because there was a lot of times that I'd have to either run to Subaru or wait for an order to come in because I kept missing O-rings or missing gaskets. And yeah, I'd recommend just buying the kit. Make your life a whole lot easier. So for the full gasket kit, that's right around $368. So we don't run MAF sensors on this car anymore. It's full speed density, and that kit was right around $150. We run an AEM 5-bar map sensor. That's right around $150 as well. I run a little adapter from IAG to run the 5-bar right into its stock location, and that's right around $50 on IAG's site. We also run an IAG Comp AOS. That was $440. Now, I run this Process West intake manifold. I wanted to buy one for a long time. I think it looks phenomenal. It really makes this build pop. It's super blingy. The raw billet aluminum is freaking sick. They are pricey. They are spendy. But what I've been told is that we can run the same power on 5 PSI less boost. So they were making 700 on 36 pounds. Now we can run 700 on 31 pounds is what they're saying. So we'll obviously find that out on the dyno in a few days. But that Process West intake manifold is a spendy $2,150, but it might be worth it. So I think it's worth it just looking at it, but we'll see. We'll see. So moving on to the titanium bits in this car. Like I said, all the piping, except for the radiator piping, is all ETS. The alternator cover, our caps, and the little badge I have up here, those are all JD Customs, and they ran me right around $485. The titanium radiator hose, that's RK Titanium, that is right around $249. And then the Vivid TI engine bay dress up, so all the midnight purple bolts and nuts I have all throughout the engine bay, that is $295 off their site. I don't run my stock radiator anymore. We run a coil radiator. They go for right around $350, and yeah, definitely a big upgrade there. The crank pulley, I run the ATI Super Damper. Those go for right around $440. And then I have this fancy little JDM STI radiator cap. Those go for right around 75 bucks. Oil and oil filter, kind of threw that on there. What's in the car right now, you're looking at right around probably 65 bucks. Subaru supercoolant, that stuff's stupid expensive. Right around 85 bucks for the 2 jugs of that stuff. And then Mac 4-port EBCS, that's right around 65 bucks. And then obviously you got to buy all the boost line and, you know, plumb it. So total and extras, and I'm probably missing things. There's so much that goes into this build, but right now we're at $8,504. That's pretty much every part I've put into this car. Like I said, there's a lot of little things, a lot of little custom things you got to do when you do a build like this. Like I said, I didn't mention vacuum lines, boost lines, any sort of hoses, clamps, little things that I bought at the part stores, little brass adapters for, you know, the intake manifold, for your oil pressure sensor. There's just a lot of little things you have to buy. With all these parts, you have to add freight and Washington taxes. So estimated it out, taxes right around $3,473. And then freight, I just put $1,000. Could be a little bit lower, could be a little bit higher. It all adds up. So obviously we got to get the car tuned. So Josh Bader charges $1,500 to tune the car. I didn't add that in with all this stuff because, you know, you might go to a different tuner. I don't know who you use. You might try to tune the car yourself. But like I said, that's pretty much everything I've put into this so far. Probably left a few things out. If I did the math correctly, and I probably didn't because I've added a few things since I've made the list, we're right around $43,072, which surprisingly, I don't think it's too bad. I was thinking it was going to be 60 plus, but you know, 43K is almost the price of a brand new STI, and we have an 800 horsepower one, hopefully. So, and then all the labor, like I said, I've done myself for the most part, besides the heads and the vinyl wrap. I got some help from Chandler. So, I mean, if you were going to have someone build this for you, probably double that, and that's what it'd be. It's a lot of work. I'd say, yeah, you'd probably be close to 80, 90K if you had someone do this for you. So that's pretty much the entire price breakdown. We're going to get this thing on the dyno within the next couple days, and we're going to see what this thing can do. Hopefully, you know, I haven't been lying about this whole 800 horsepower goal. I still want to make 800 horsepower dyno jet. I believe that's right around 708 Mustang. But, you know, we'll see what happens. I don't want to blow it up. So if we're getting to the point where Josh is like, hey, we're pretty much at the point where we try this again and it's just going to blow, we're going to stop there because, yeah, I don't want to blow this thing up already. We put a lot of money into it, and I, quite frankly, don't have the money to rebuild it right now. So now we got to clean up the shop, bring all my tools home, and yeah, essentially just drive this thing a few more miles. We'll get her on the dyno. Like I said, hope that answered some of you guys' questions. But yeah, I'm gonna clean up the shop, get out of here. Once again, shout out Chandler for letting us use this. It's been a huge help. But let's get our stuff cleared out. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out. See y'all later.